All right, let's do a quick overview of the low voltage. So we talked about the mechanical, we talked about the high voltage. Now we're going to talk about the low voltage, and in the next video we'll talk about the plumbing. Low voltage means the control side. This is where your installation could differ from a lot of others. We have a lot of the installations when I first hired in forever ago. Oh my gosh. We're using this, let's see, we're using this thermostat. This is a TH6320, revision 1004. This one's filthy. There's also the 6350. There might be a couple other variants to that, but the idea of this machine is we want to be in and out in a day or day and a half. And a lot of times we're in a finished basement, making it very difficult. If you've only got 2 or 4 wires running to your thermostat on your main level, we're down in the basement, of course. If you have finished ceilings, it would be it'd be terrible if we had to cut and pull wire and, do a lot of drywall work and stuff like that. So the solution was to have wireless thermostats. For the most part, they are absolutely fabulous. These two are probably the most common. If you have the Honeywell, you also have this thing down in your basement. A lot of times they are attached to the machine, or this might be on the wall behind it or up in the rafters. Communication, the Honeywells are pretty much infallible. I've never had one have a signal issue. The more popular one that we installed for years and years and years is this Brayburn 7500. This is the most common thermostat you're gonna see. And we're gonna do a different video talking all about these. But this has a receiving module like this. One of the quickest ways to determine if your machine doesn't have power, this receiving module is down in the basement, excuse me, just like the other one. This is talking to this. This is telling your furnace what to do, your geothermal and your furnace. And don't forget, which would be impossible because I haven't mentioned it yet, but our machine does communicate with your backup furnace. So the idea is we come in, we add our thermostat, we add our module, this talks to this, and if your house is not fully heating with our system on a very cold night or a windy day or whatever, this knows when to ask the backup furnace for help. So in terms of low voltage, you've got wires coming out of the back of the machine, coming into either this module or this module. Again, hopefully on a wall or up in a rafter, so that that signal is free and clear to get to the thermostat wherever it is in the home. And then there's also probably an 18-2 wire that comes out of the machine and goes right into your furnace. That's how we tell the furnace when we need help. You may also still have your original thermostat that came with the home that you were using to control the old furnace before we got there. 9 times out of 10, we will leave that thermostat in place unless we are putting in a Wi-Fi thermostat or something in case we needed those wires. So we probably replaced it or took it out. But you will have our thermostat and your old thermostat on the wall, in which case I would have instructed you to just use our thermostat going forward. This one still controls the old furnace, but that's only in a scenario where something's wrong with our machine, maybe the power's off, in which case it won't control the backup and you've got to go back to your old thermostat. These were almost always mounted outside. Sometimes they're right on the plenum. Those installations were not ideal because you've got kind of a half of a Faraday cage. Signals don't like to travel through metal. We actually installed, for years, we installed these inside the front cover of the machine. This lower panel, which can be easily removed, and then I would run an antenna outside so the signal would get back. If those antennas get yanked or ripped off, all of a sudden you'll see that comm loss on your thermostat where it's not communicating. But we've gone back, and a lot of these that were inside the panel, we've moved outside the panel and up into the walls just for those communication error issues. So that's a quick overview. There's a bunch of other thermostats out there. We're going to try to address them in specific videos later, especially if you have a Wi-Fi thermostat, Nest, a Honeywell, which is the one I like to install. There's T6 Pros, T5s, 8000 Pro Series. There's a ton of them out there, or Ecobees even. We will try to address each one of those, but we're not going to be comprehensive and down to the nitty gritty with a lot of those, just because if it's just too much information to try to convey. There's a lot of great content on YouTube, especially for your Nest thermostat folks. There are Nest thermostats, typically the older ones that work with our system. I have spoken with engineer after engineer, and the latest mirror-faced Nest. Nest has the worst naming system ever. Every Nest is called a Nest. There's no model number, there's nothing. They're just called Nest. So it's like, oh my God. So the latest one, the mirror-faced one, after talking with smarter people than I, is actually not compatible with our machine. Go figure. The latest model actually is not, it's not ready for geothermal. I don't know. You're welcome to research it, but when we have installed Nests, we've installed up to what I call their Gen 3 model, which has the disc on the outside that rotates and the black or clear plastic screen. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the low voltage, or what we call control wiring for the machine. We'll get into that detail a little bit later.